What is good, everyone? This is your host, Deanna Kuempel of Label Free Podcast. To live your best life, you must live label free. I'm super excited. We have a very special guest with us today. She's a social enterprise founder, boosting artist success for women, and she's also an artist herself. Please welcome Svitlana Martynjuk. Thank you for joining us today, Svitlana. Can you please introduce yourself and tell the audience a little bit about your background?
Yes, of course. Well, first and foremost, I'm an artist myself, and I have been since I can remember. Last time, actually, I did a news segment, and I said I've been an artist for a few years, and I was like, why did I say for a few years?
Yeah,
Literally my entire life. But and recently, in the past few years, I started learning about disparities that gender disparities that women face in the art world, which I had no idea existed. And it was through other sources. It wasn't by going to art school or by reading books. It was not through your regular channels, not social media, that I started realizing there was only one group, Art Girl Rising, that at that time was kind of putting a whole bunch of light on the issue. And I was like, wait a minute, let me check that for myself. And I start to flip art books, and the index in the end, I'm trying to see how many are women out of all
right.
those artists listed. And the numbers were ridiculous. Like, I was shocked. It
Yeah.
would be 4 artists per 5 pages of
Wow.
artists.
Wow.
And it was, I was shocked. There's no other way to describe my feeling except shocked. And so I was like, okay, well, is there anything that I can do to kind of help to fix the issue? Maybe create some sort of exhibition space for women online or anything like that. And the more I started thinking, the more the idea started to come together. And eventually, I think it was a whole year that I was brainstorming about it. And it was towards the end of 2019. I was like, well, I think I can create a directory where people can just look up women artists, because
Sure.
there's not even a place to do that. And I started with simply creating a directory that is curated, because I also wanted there to be some sort of a standard, and curators come in and make selections of artists. um, and it took off. I
Sure.
didn't realize that it would be such needed resource, and a lot of artists started signing up. And it was kind of insane, because in the span of 3 months we grew so much. We were getting interviews, we're getting more applications, and more people were interested, and more people wanted to learn. First of all, people wanted to learn and feel heard, especially women artists, because no one is
Yeah.
talking about the issues that we face every day. The fact that there will be an exhibit of 20 artists and only one of them is a woman artist, when in
Wow.
reality women are graduating at higher rate with masters in fine art than men do. So
Wow.
where are all of them going?
Sounds like that industry is a lot more like tough to get into, like worse than the corporate world.
Exactly. And
Wow.
that's what I couldn't believe, because it's 2019 at that time. And I thought to myself, I thought we're inching closer to equality. And this seems to be like, we're very far away. It's as
Yeah.
if things haven't changed since the Middle Ages.
Yeah.
And then throughout our last year, it's been just a constant, moving upward. We evolved into launching our own art magazine that highlights women artists, and any artist from any on the corner of the world can
Yeah.
submit their work there. And the directory is free to use for anyone. We offer networking and critique nights for women artists on our platform. We try to we hire writers that do little articles on art career advice. So we're trying to kind of spread as much as we can into
Sure.
different areas, and basically educate people and let them know that women artists also exist. And there's so many different stereotypes, like, well, maybe people just prefer male artists, but the issue is, if we are only shown
Right.
art
Right.
by men, we're only going to know
Right.
that, okay, I like, it just happens that I like all art by men. No, you are shown art by men, and that's a big difference.
That's a huge difference. So that's just totally awesome. I love what you're doing. I think that it's necessary. And like I said before we start recording, I'm going to connect you with an artist here in Chicago. She's I recorded with her a while back, and I love her work. I'm sure she'd be very interested in, and maybe she's already part of your network. Who knows? But
Maybe I will have to check. Yeah,
yeah,
nowadays we represent artists from over 30 countries, and
it's amazing.
yeah, and we put on a few online exhibits, and we collaborate with other companies and organizations that also try to bring light to women in the arts. And people reach out to us to work with us. So it's been an incredible experience, and I'm so happy to see that other people are also wanting to be involved and contribute to the cause.
Yeah, no, you sound very passionate about that, and I love it. When someone's passionate and they believe in what they're doing, it really comes out, and when they talk about it, and so that's really great. And I'm all about woman power. Please, like, hello, like,
Yes,
I'm done with the stereotypes, man. Like, men who, what? Okay, get out of here. Like,
exactly. It's like, there is enough space for everybody, but
yeah,
the thing is the fields were not equal for us for so long. And I think now we're like, hello, we're over here. We need exhibits also. Why aren't we getting the same recognition?
yeah. I mean, that number is scary low. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just shocking. I mean, it's shocking to me to hear like there's 20 artists and one is a woman. That's crazy.
There
Especially this day and age with everything that we've been going through. Like you're definitely cutting edge in what you're doing, and it's necessary. So before COVID hit, were you able to do like in-person events for your artists?
So I launched All She Makes in January of 2020. That was 3 months before COVID hit. And
Oh,
yeah, and so this whole thing just happened last year. And we didn't have exhibits in mind just yet because I started out as a directory, just a place where people can search artists geographically. That's
sure.
all I cared about. Maybe artists are looking for to find just other art friends in their area and they don't know where to go. I wanted a universal space where people can look up women artists. And 3 months later, COVID happens, and I'm like, oh, well, I had plans maybe for future, and now I don't know what that's gonna look like. So we started doing exhibits online. But now that things are slowly opening back up, I'm definitely thinking about in-person shows, maybe in New York or another kind of world
Sure, come to
hub.
Chicago. I
Yeah,
actually have someone else I'm going to introduce you. He has an art gallery in the city, and so I recorded with Roya before she was featured there and had her own show. So he probably has other female artists he can introduce you to. So I'll make that introduction as well. What is good, everyone? This is your host, Deanna Kuempel of Label Free Podcast. Live your best life. You must live label free. Ho, 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 ladies. The holidays came early, not only for you, but for your man here at Manscaped, the leading men's hygiene brand. Manscaped just launched new products that your man will actually use, including their all-new ultra premium body wash and a 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner. Also, this awesome refined cologne. It smells so sexy. My man loves it. I love him wearing it, especially after he's all clean shaven, using the lawnmower 4.0 and trimming those nasty nose hairs and those ear hairs. You know what I'm saying, ladies? It's time to give the man in your life the gift of beautiful skin, hair, and balls this holiday season. Go to manscaped.com and use the code labelfree20 for 20% off and free shipping. That's right, ladies, 20% off and free shipping with the code labelfree20 at manscaped.com. Are there any actions women can take to help overcome some of the barriers of the disparities that are currently existing for women in art?
definitely. So one of the things that I always suggest people, and it's not something that a lot of people even think about, and these are some steps that anybody can take when an artist is showing in whatever show that is, a small, large scale. Look around or check the roster and see who is there beside you. As I
Yeah,
feel like, especially, you know, for men, I think that would be like the best to be the best advocate. If men that are participating in a show and they realize there's only one woman artist, they need to use their majority voice and be like, hey, can we get some more of other people into
right.
our group? And women can do the same. They can voice their opinion to curators, to museum directors. Why aren't there many more women artists? I recently went to a local museum, and I made it an assignment out of just having fun for myself.
Yeah.
So I went into every single room and I took note of how many women artists were in every single room in the museum. And I was so sad by the time I left.
Oh my gosh, I bet. I did not know this. Like I'm not that. I love art. I love artists. I'm not that knowledgeable about the art world, but
Mhm.
like I'm blown away that this is like the. I'm just blown away. I mean, I've just totally learned something new. Do you go to like the art schools, like the colleges, and have you left your information for them to get those female artists involved in your program and what you're doing?
Yes, that's one of the things we do. We do outreach. We reach out to different organizations, museums, and we basically let them know, hey, looking for more women artists? We got a resource for you, and it's our directory is free to use. So you literally just go to allshemakes.org and it's right there.
Yeah.
Everything is in one place. And another thing, another important issue, two important issues that I think are worth bringing up is that one, when we talk about statistics about women artists, this statistics it does not include women artists of color. There is so little information or the
Wow.
statistics that is available on women artists of color that the percentages are even smaller for them. So
I
when we
got.
talk about women artists, you can safely assume that the statistics includes mostly white women. So imagine the number being so much smaller for women artists of color. So that's a whole another issue.
Yeah.
And being museums, when they are, the society views museums as kind of like this standard. They are teaching us about art history, they're teaching us about basically what's going on in the art world right now, but they're not, museums are not giving us an accurate image, an
Yeah.
accurate representation. And so how can we rely on them for the accurate information on art history when they're not giving us accurate information? So it's this circle where people go to museum for help, but museum doesn't give you the correct image. So
That, yeah, I can only imagine. Actually, I have two other artists that I know that are here. Do you work specifically only with artists that are making like canvas art, sculptures, or what about the women that are making jewelry that are really beautiful pieces? Do you work with them too?
it yes, it's any visual art, any form of visual art. We do
Visual.
have jewelry makers, and the type of jewelry they create, it's more like sculptural pieces for your
Yes.
body. It's
Yeah.
really incredible.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm just now that I'm thinking about, I actually know more. I know more women that I want to introduce you to because I think that they could benefit from being in your network and what you're doing because I think it's important. I'm
Yeah.
all about supporting women supporting women. I don't think it happens enough, and so that's why I'm like, yes, girl, you go. We got to do it.
Thank you.
Okay, so here's another good question. What systematic changes would you like to see in the world of art to help women achieve greater outcomes for income and success?
I think that goes back to museums.
Okay.
The problem is that museums receive funding,
Yeah.
and a lot of donors and people that donate art only have same 10 artists that they love to collect because they have been popular throughout history. And unfortunately, that does not allow room for growth, for expansion, for diversity. It doesn't allow room for anything. And so you end up having a circulation of the same five male artists throughout history that go from museum to museum, and then the funding the museum receive, the donors also can dictate what kind of art they want to see, because if donor doesn't like certain kind of art, they might not give funding to the museum one
Right.
year, or next, and that it changes the whole dynamic. And so we need more diversity in leadership, in more different donors to donate, not just rich white old men.
So
And
are you going to be looking to do any type of like fundraising for to help do what you're doing and to support more women artists? Like, what is your end goal with what you're doing? Because obviously, it's taken on a life of its own. I bet, and
yeah,
it's just going to continue to evolve. And so, how can people support you, help you? Do you have sponsors now for what you're doing?
so we do accept sponsorships. I don't think it's clearly laid out on the website yet, but we do have we're not a nonprofit, but we do have a donation page where all of the donations go directly to a scholarship, and every year the scholarship is distributed to the artist. So we have a scholarship fund where all the donations are collected in there, and 100% of it goes directly to the artist. So right now, it's one of the ways to help us, because the money goes straight back to the artist.
Right.
And We also have people can do sponsorships in our magazine. People can take out ads. We are a little bit picky with that because we want to make sure that we do represent, companies with good values that are supportive of good causes.
Yeah.
And that's another way to help us do what we do.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited about what you're doing. I'm trying, I'm like, my brain is just like turning like a wheel. Like, who else can I introduce you to? How can I like help support you? Like, I'm just like I'm just going crazy over here. Oh my gosh. So can you plug all of your links where people can find you, support you, get in touch with you so that we know where to go to help you continue with your cause?
Yes, definitely. Our website is allshemakes.org and our Instagram is all.she.makes.
Okay.
So those are our main channels. We do have a page on Facebook. I don't think we get so much traction with that because Facebook wants us to make ads.
Yeah.
I'm like, we would rather give money to the artists, not Facebook. Sorry.
Right, exactly. Well, that's smart. Yeah, because I don't even know if I really believe in those ads because it doesn't really target your correct demographic. Because I've done plenty of them, and I'm just like, I don't even know if I ever benefited. Like the
Yeah.
return on investment. So yeah, good idea. Um, before we start wrapping things up, do you have any last words of wisdom or advice for the female artists out there that are, maybe struggling? Because I consider myself a struggling artist. I am. I'm creating. I'm not like visual. Well, this is like, I don't know if you consider this visual. I don't know. Whatever. But it's a tough road, and I think I'm very smart from a business standpoint, and I run this like a business, but it's still very difficult because you have to find your audience, right, to support you, just like any woman that's creating the jewelry that look like sculptures, art, canvas art, whatever. You have to find that audience, and by what you're saying, it's even more difficult for female artists to find that because they're not being supported. Uh,
Exactly.
wow.
Some of the things that I keep reminding people that one, social media doesn't really translate into sales necessarily, and they're, not to put as much attention as you think you need in social media, because I've seen artists with like 1,000 followers completely sell out all the
Yeah.
time, and I've seen artists with 100,000 followers that don't do so well
Yeah.
because Instagram limits their reach, and so not many people end up seeing their work anyways. My one thing that I want to tell everyone: art art career, to be 100% painter or 100% sculptor is really difficult. That's the truth. And I think understanding that will kind of help everyone to just detach themselves a little bit from that and understand, okay, maybe I need to have a part-time job to
Yeah.
also be an artist, and that's totally fine. I think there is this huge idea that artists have that if they're not 100% full-time artists, they're a failed artist. This could not be further from the truth.
Yeah.
There are so many artists that I know who work full-time jobs elsewhere and do art only, a few hours a week, but they are not any less of an artist. And that's one thing. It might take a really long time to get anywhere, but just do not quit. That's one thing. Art is like a balm to everybody's soul. If you're an artist, you cannot be without it, and telling yourself nobody's buying my art, so I'm just gonna quit, it's only going to, I don't know, probably turn into a depression or something, at least for me. So
Yeah. Yeah. For
so
sure.
just, even if it's like 30 minutes a week, devote a little bit of time, and it does not make you any less of an artist. It might take a while, but eventually you will get somewhere. We did not all start painting 60 by 60, paintings and selling them for $1,000. We all started from a very small tiny commission that we charge maybe $15 for,
Yeah.
and that's one thing to keep in mind.
I love it. That's awesome advice. And yeah, you have to be able to pay your bills and support yourself. So, it's all about the hustle, right? Even though you are living in that artist that side of your brain, you still have to hustle and you still have to, feed yourself. So, very great
Exactly.
advice. Thank you so much, Svitlana. Oh my God, sorry, I got it right several
You
times.
got it.
Thank you so much for being a guest today. And I love what you're doing. And, however I can support you, I'm here to help. I've already followed you on Instagram. So, yeah, And I got some people to introduce you to. You guys, this is your host, Deanna Kuempel with Label Free Podcast. To live your best life, you must live label free. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, share, follow, all that good stuff. And I'll be back soon with more dynamic guests.